Um, well, I think as a kid I loved arcade games and I loved movies and I was a big artist, and so when I first saw a home computer I was fascinated that you could actually make images move on a screen. So I got a computer and taught myself how to program so I could animate. So I first started on a Commodore PET and a ZX Spectrum, and then I migrated to the BBC microcomputer, and then went on to Commodore 64 and then on to IBM. Well, let's see, I was first published commercially as a game in a magazine called The Micro User for the BBC, and I did 2 games for them that were Games of the Month. And then I just wrote my own assembly language arcade game, which I sold to Ocean and Imagine, and they published it as Wizardor in England. And then I did Match Day on the BBC Micro for Ocean, and then I did a game called Strikers Run for a company called Superior Software. Then I moved over to America and hooked up with Origin and did a game called Times of War. Well, I think I've always liked space movies. I've loved World War II movies, and I kind of always wanted to make a game that gave me the feeling of Star Wars. And back when I did Wing Commander, there was nothing out there that was like that. So, I would say Star Wars is a big part, probably Battlestar Galactica, and probably a lot of the sort of World War II, Pacific, warfare kind of films. Well, I'd say real actors give you quicker feedback. So, for instance, if you're doing a scene with an animated character, it takes a week or so to just do one scene, whereas with a real actor, you can film it in 3 or 4 hours. Real actors are, well, they don't do everything you say, so that's kind of a downside, but also they bring a lot to the table in terms of they'll give you an idea maybe, or approach something from an angle that you wouldn't have thought of. So personally, I like it because I really like interaction with people, and real actors, I think, add something to the storytelling process. No, not really. We kind of sort of went into it by accident because we were thinking about casting Mark as Maniac, and then Tom Wilson came in and read for the role of Maniac and did a wonderful job, and I was like, no, I know Maniac, and Maniac's Tom Wilson. And then we were thinking, well, we're talking to Mark, and I can't find anyone to be the lead role in Wing Commander because it's a very difficult thing to cast. You need someone that you automatically accept as a hero. And we went, well, we're talking to Mark Hamill. I mean, he was Luke Skywalker. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to have any problem accepting Mark as the hero of Wing Commander, considering he was the hero of Star Wars. So let's see if he wants to do it. And he said yes, and it worked out great. I don't know. I mean, there's some debate. We've talked about doing a movie and a game, and there's also some debate about just doing a game. So right now, I'm not quite sure. I mean, I think the next thing I'm going to do is definitely going to be a movie game, and it's the only way I can get the production quality to be the level I'd like it to be without hitting the cost of the game. Well, obviously I'm going to take a little bit of time off after finishing Wing Commander 4. I'm working on the sort of ideas and scripts for my future projects, and also the future structure of my deal with Electronic Arts. And I would definitely say that the next thing that I do is probably going to be, I'm going to probably do 2 things. I'm going to do a multiplayer strategy online kind of game, and I'm going to do a big interactive movie game. Oh, me and Aaron get along really well. Well, he's working on the Darkling. I mean, he helped produce Privateer, and so the Darkling is very much like Privateer. I think they may even call it Privateer 2. And it's going to be very much in the Privateer game format, but a lot better designed and thought out and caretaken on the gameplay itself. The characters and story haven't got anything to do with Privateer there, but it looks really, really cool. So I think it's going to be out this Christmas. I think it's going to do really well. Well, I think the future is going to have 2 kinds of games. I think it's going to have, the first kind will be sort of solo story games. They'll sort of have a scripted outcome, and they're games like a Wing Commander that how they have a very beginning and an end, and or the LucasArts adventure games, or a game like Myst, or a game like 11th Hour or 7th Guest, where a player gets involved in a story and goes his way through solving puzzles or blowing things up or whatever. The production values and storytelling on that will have to be the same level as you see on TV and movies. That's one kind of game. The other major kind of game that I think will be in the future will be multiplayer interactive environments, And those games obviously can't have a story because if you have, say, 100 people playing a game, I mean, it's impossible to keep a story going. But what you do is you create a world and a universe that has a set of rules, and say the players have a goal to, say, conquer the world or collect as much money as possible or shoot down as many, aircraft as possible.